Well, we're freaking out though. So here's the thing. Momentum in a game and like an oh shit moment as well on the onside kick, right? And we're after hours. I can say that.
Yeah. Go for it.
They scored 21
We're
points.
officially an adult channel on YouTube, so you can say that.
They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. It was the game was like gone. It was like, was it 30-14 or something like that? Mm. Like 30-14 going to the fourth quarter. That's why I left. We were up by 3 scores. That game should have been over in the fourth quarter, right? And when they did the onside, when they scored quickly, I didn't see the play. I was already gone. It was sounding Arbogast said it was like busted coverage, right? On the long 46-yard touchdown at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Tony, do you remember that play?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a busted coverage, and the guy scores on gets that quick score. Then they get an onside kick. Did it look like we were ready for? Did we have our hands team in there? Were we ready for the onside kick? I'm assuming we were.
I don't know because my entire cable froze at that moment.
Okay.
And then it resumed. My cable completely froze and then stupidly resumed like right afterwards, and I didn't even know what happened.
Yeah, it was just so you could hear just a murmur in the stadium, right? So we're walking. If you know the stadium, you get Coliseum at all, you guys. My dad and I are walking. We're going to the parking lot, the ones right by the on top, right by the museum, and we're the peristyle end. And we're walking, and all of a sudden we hear just, I'm not kidding you, the place went silent. Like the murmur in the whole crowd just, it's like this air was sucked out of the stadium. We were already outside walking to the car, and all of a sudden just got silent. And you hear Arbogast on my radio. It says that that he believes that they recovered the onside kick. And at that moment, I kind of looked at my dad. My dad's 75. It was cold. We were getting out of there. It was probably a little under 50.
There was a lot less like shirtless body paint than usual.
No, there was a ton of that, by the way. And
was there? Okay.
There's a lot of alcohol going on. It was homecoming, so there was a lot of skin. But they're gonna wake up tomorrow morning, in a worse place. But they had a lot of antifreeze in them. They were fine. But it was cold. I mean, and it's not. Don't go, oh wow, 50 degrees. But the wind is whipping around that stadium pretty good as well today. So we were getting out of there. 20-point win. We were cruising, and then I'm just white knuckling it driving home the whole way, thinking, is this going to be like that ASU game, that the Jail Mary or something, just some crazy play at the end and Cal wins it by 1? I thought that was going to happen in this game.
I was a little afraid of that. But the thing about our defense is they have been, guys, and I know that with folks in the chat, some of you are freaking out about this, but they have been bend, don't break. We've had some games that we've sweated on, but we are 8-1.
Yeah, I mean, I am trying to look at
for the first time since 2008.
When they switched to, like, it seemed like in the fourth quarter when they were up by 3 scores, when they switched to that 3 scores, they changed the offense. And when they did that, again, they surrendered 21 points in 1 quarter. The first 3 quarters, actually, the defense, did play that bend, don't break, Tony. I mean, they were giving up yards, but like I stole from Ryan Abraham. They were empty calories. You get a bunch of yards, but unless you're getting points, kind of like Alabama. I bet Alabama's kicking themselves for going down the field and kicking 3 field goals at the beginning of that game.
Yeah,
that's how you win games. You can let teams move the ball on you. You just don't let them get into the end zone. And that's really what USC did in the first 3 quarters of this game. And then all of a sudden they decide, we're not going to play any defense at all. And we see it every year. It's so crazy, especially when it's a close game and their team just needs a field goal. And they're playing these soft zones when they've been able to stop a team the whole game. And all of a sudden they go to the soft zone and let them walk right down the field on you. I mean, I guess there's a purpose.
I don't understand the soft zone because it makes no sense to me because it doesn't stop anyone.
No.
Like, honestly, guys, I've noticed a lot in football in the last 2 years. I honestly feel like prevent defenses don't prevent anything.
I think officers are just too good now.
I don't know why we don't just stop it.
I'm sure Chris will scold me sometime, probably in Discord, telling me, why it's done. I get the reason why it's done, but it just seemed like they went from being able to move the ball on USC to just like crushing them, right? It just seemed like whatever the defense they switched to, their guys were wide open all of a sudden. I thought the idea of switching to that kind of a soft zone or too high zone is that you don't let guys get behind you and then you don't let guys get big plays. Well, I was listening on the radio, but it seemed like they were getting big plays. So,
yeah, they were getting huge plays. It was
disappointing.
It was disappointing, but we won.
And we did win. And, on a night where we have Michael Jackson just going crazy. This guy emerged. I think he and Taj Washington both had over 100 yards receiving. And the ball was going around to a lot of people. One person I did see kind of absent in this game was Rice. He really just wasn't, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the drops from previous games, but he just didn't. I saw him on the sidelines quite a bit in this game. And I also noticed the tight ends, correct me if I'm wrong, but the tight ends kind of went to sleep in this game, right? The tight ends were getting some play, were actually involved a lot early on the past couple of weeks, but they've kind of gone quiet. I'd like to hear from the chat if I'm wrong on that.
And as Alex points out, at least we're not Clemson.
Yeah,
they got Tim. I don't think you saw it. They got murder stomped.
I just kept looking at the score. I watched I was able to watch the block punt, and I went, "Oh, that's." I thought stupidly, "Oh, that's going to come back to haunt them." Little did I know that doesn't matter. That was like
who knew that wouldn't matter? Yeah, it's funny. I thought exactly the same thing. So he's actually in bed right now, exhausted, and I think probably floating above the bed on a cloud. But friend of the show, Will ND, was on the field after the game with his dad on the field after the game, celebrating the Irish just murder stomping Clemson.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's
awesome for him. He hasn't been to a game there in a long time.
I'm sorry for your loss, Jordan, but you were in the game with your dad. Otherwise, I would have the same feelings.
Yeah, that's right. Friend of the show, Jordan Bowman, who we also love, devout Clemson fan, who was taking it pretty well. I mean, although when you lose like that, there's really no other way to take it.
Yeah, Foreman was in. Foreman was playing. He just, I agree with 66 Lucky Dude. Foreman did play, and I keep waiting, and I think we all do. He just has to be nicked up because he doesn't look like he has much of a push. I've seen some bull rushes by him. He's not the biggest guy, but he can get there. He can get at least pressure on the quarterback. And he's not the biggest guy, but the Cal offensive linemen aren't the biggest offensive linemen either. So I'm surprised that he wasn't more of a factor. But Thule did Thule's thing, right? And Peely had a really nice play where he stopped Ott in the hole. That was great. Just reached out and grabbed. He was space eating, and he's reached out and grabbed him, dragged him down for no gain. That was excellent. But that is interesting on Corey Foreman. It's a shame we don't get any information, anymore on injuries, so we don't know what really is going on with these guys.
No, we really don't. And they were having similar issues with Charbonnet at UCLA, the UCLA game. And interestingly, more complaints from folks. Hey guys, let me just tell you guys something, because I've seen a lot of complaints about this. One of the things that the Pac-12 has talked about, and we talk about as a big value add for the Pac-12 that is very, very valuable to the TV networks, is the fact that the Pac-12 has spent a lot of money to put remote technology in place so that the Pac-12 can broadcast games without broadcasters being there. ESPN does send their broadcasters the game, so USC's broadcasters were there. I guess the Fox people were not at the UCLA game. Like, guys, stop acting like Fox has shafted us. That's something the conference is really proud of. So I've seen a lot of arguing about that in chats tonight about folks with the UCLA game. But and we may still see that for the USC game next week. For the USC game next week, the announcers probably will not be there. And don't complain, because we're proud of that.
If you're not at the game, you guys, you should be listening to Arbogast on the radio anyway. Just turn those clowns off and listen to Sean Cody and Pete Arbogast, and you're going to have a much better experience than if you listen to guys that don't even know the players on the team.
And just in case anyone's wondering, that's Sean Cody, the famous USC player, not the porn studio. Don't go look that up.
Did learn something new tonight, Tony. Learn something new.